Alright then, hello everyone and welcome to the 16th round of the NEF1 Championship, and this could be the last race on F124 where we have an active fight for the Drivers' Championship. Tess is only 8 points away from clinching the title versus his championship rival, who unfortunately is not racing tonight, and he's saying not a chance, mate. I don't think there's too much he's going to be able to do about this one. Procedurally, it is almost over. Tess has to score 8 points or more in order to be crowned champion of Season 9, and for the first time since Season 5, we would have a British champion. So then, can Tess get it done tonight, or will it go down to the penultimate round or the final round in Brazil and Bahrain? We'll wait and see as everyone is heading out on track, but we already have Squidge in chat on Twitch saying congratulations to Tess. I think he knows just about where this is going, but nothing is done before it is over in this league. We'll wait and see what goes on. Recon is taking a little bit of an adventure off the circuit in Sector 1. That's an interesting line. Mr. Wilco at least keeping it on the circuit, going through those particular corners, and so is the Haas behind him. Then we have Matty Adams, 16, out a little bit later in his purple lid for what is going to be one of his last chances to win a race in this season. Not been able to do so yet, but 3 races coming up. Mind you, next week it's Brazil, which he won in really brilliant fashion last season out as well. So he's going to have an opportunity for sure. Alpaca is currently sitting in P4. She's had a proper upswing to her season now, is starting to score a consistent point. What is Ondricek going to be able to do, and how far up that championship order is he going to be able to climb before we have season's end? Sam Obama, one of the breakouts of the season for sure. It's been an absolutely mighty season from podium last time out in Singapore, if I'm not mistaken. Can he capitalize off that good momentum? We'll wait and see. This is a track that should suit him relatively well. Yellow flags in Sector 3. It's just an Aston Martin going slowly. As Dominic is asking... Oh, sorry, it's been okay. Jesus Christ. Dominic is asking, where is the West Lithuanian driver? That is Recon, currently sitting down in 13th. Just coming into the pit lane right now is Recon, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is. So then Samo is going to be the first driver to set a flying lap around here in that absolutely gorgeous, relatively good looking, relatively gorgeous, I'm going to say. Relatively gorgeous RB. I wish that white would have just been made chrome instead and would have been a perfect livery, or that chrome would have been made white and it would have been bang on. And Squidge, I'm not going to give that comment any time of day. I'm afraid I'm not going to mention it in the stream. It'll be a straight demonetization. As Samo goes into P1 with 122.204. Here comes Jamar through Sector 1 then. What is he going to be able to do? We'll wait and see as we have the Ferrari of Noah's about to cross the line. And is he going to be able to compete with Samo? Not quite. 2 tenths behind. Samo Bamo is the Maltese driver. And now Hybrid is about to come across the line for the start of a flying lap. Matty's had a disappointing start to the session, but he's on medium tyres, mind you, so he'll improve by a good couple attempts on his second go at this. Tess is on an outlap as well, just ahead of this man on check 51. Oh yeah, Dominic, that's exactly what he's meaning, I'm sure. Unfortunately, that was a joke that was made once, and it has completely spiraled out of control in this league now. Jamar goes into P2 with a 22.338, so a couple of times into the 22s to the low 22s. The top 4 at the moment separated by 2 tenths of a second. That's a big margin down to Wigan. Djokovic goes fast at 21.864. Sorry. As here we go, we want to check then. Is he going to claim P1? I would assume so. No, he doesn't. Only P2, 22.192. Behind Djokovic, ahead of Samo Bamo. And now then, the championship leader and soon to be the championship elect is heading through Sector 2 and in Sector 3. And he's not an unknown quantity around this circuit now. His test, we've seen him once this season. In a race which, in the dries, ended in utter domination for Tess. Can we expect anything less than that today? We'll wait and see. Tess comes across the line then, 21.473, 4 tenths of a second quicker than Djokovic. Also, like Matty, yet to score a win this season, which I think might be a first in this NEF1 tenure if he fails to win one. As iWatts has invalidated, I'm sure we're going to see a couple of more of those throughout this session. Darren's had a pretty good lap up in P9, 23.164, as we have 16 drivers on the grid. If inside the top 10 is very, very decent. So then, nothing interesting going on here about 6.5 minutes into qualifying. Everyone have completed their first run. Alpaca, BT and Recon all in the pit lane. Alpaca's left the session. We'll see if we can get her back. At this stage, we might need confirmation from Alpaca that she can or cannot race tonight. Obviously, resident in Spain, which are suffering massive power outages at the moment, which could be the reason for her leaving the session. But so we'll keep an eye on what Alpaca's status throughout this session will be. Here we go, Van Iwatt for one of his last races in that Red Bull before we move on to F1 25. And it's been a very alright season for Iwatt so far. Results have gone a little bit up and down, more upwards than downwards lately. This is a track where he almost got a win at a couple of seasons back at as well, so he is comfortable around here. See now what he's going to be able to deliver on now that Red Bull desperately need to resolve for the Constructors' Championship as well. 22-9. Needs to improve a bit further on that, I'm afraid, in order to make it higher up the order. iWatts in P9, still inside the points though. As then both Matty and Noah are running very closely to each other, both on track and on time as well, about 0.04 of a second separating the two former teammates. Matty now heading in Sector 2, and he's majorly improving through Sector 1. See what he's going to be able to do through this sector where you can probably gain a majority of the time around this lap. Sector 3, I would imagine, is more procedural, just keep it on track, and the time's going to remain about the same. Sector 1 and Sector 2 is the places for the big time game. What is Matty going to be able to do through Sector 2? Almost a full second up. As for Noah, what's he going to be able to do? I didn't see the sector split. That's really buggering me. But right now, if Matty can have a good Sector 3, could he even potentially challenge for pole position here? Is the question. Matty is about to come across the start-finish line and is gonna be P2, but not far off Tess. That is 6 thousandths off the championship leader. Noah finishes his lap and goes up to P4, 1:21.9. As Recon has now made his way back out on an outlap, he was absent from the session for a little bit of time. So now hopefully everything is up to speed. Alpaca's rejoined the lobby, so that's good to see. And Ondercheck has rejoined the circuit and he's out hunting for time. He's coming up to the Sector 2 split in just a little bit of time. See if he can keep up the same level of improvement that Matty did. Keep in mind though, Matty was improving from a set of mediums to a set of softs, so it's not going to be as easy to gain time for anyone else, but Ondercheck is improving massively. 0.6 of a second through the second sector, and that's going to put the pressure on the front runners as well. Shoot straight past Djokovic and up towards Matty and Tess. So around that final corner then, 4 Ondercheck goes up to P3, just about a 10th shy of Tess still, but that is getting him ever closer. Sam Obama's about to come across the Sector 1 split as the second run has begun for a lot of these drivers now. And he's not improving for the first sector. Wiggins was massively improving on his previous go. He's now on 122.686, so this will be a cool down lap for Wiggins. I'm sorry we missed it. As here goes Darren Style then rounding the final turn in Sector 2. 6:28 to go, so we're actually coming up to the end of the session relatively quickly. Darren is improving, but it won't propel him too far into the top 10 this lap. We'll see what this lap can do for him. It's very wide going through the last corner, and it's straight into the pit lane for Darren Style. Opting that's not good enough. As here comes Mr. Wilco and his Aston Martin. Teammate then of Matty, currently sitting in P2, would need a bit more help from Mr. Wilco. He's currently improving by half a second going through the Sector 2 split, which is very good. I believe that might be Tess just behind him. That's not going to be beneficial to Tess, running so closely behind the Aston Martin, who's not obliged to budge as he's on a quick lap as well. So not perfectly timed that by Tess, just caught up a little bit too much on the fast lap. Wilco improves up to P8, Tess improves and is now 0.3 clear of Matty Adam in P2. So that's a very good lap from Tess. Might be good enough to might be good enough to cement his pole position for the Qatar Grand Prix. We'll wait and see. A beating Alpaca and Recon, none of whom have yet to set a time. As here we go with Alpaca, the driver who's been consistently improving throughout the last couple of races. So always lovely to see. A 30.591 for the first sector. Beat is out in the mediums towards the end of the session, which doesn't make any type of sense to me. Alpaca is quickly catching up to the back of him. And this is absolutely ruining Alpaca's lap. And this doesn't... slight contact between the two. This doesn't quite sit right with me. The beat is out on sort of medium tabs, which is always going to propel him to be much slower than the competition. And is getting properly in the way of Alpaca. Obviously, lap ruined still. But that's not brilliant from a beat. Picking that tire at this stage of the qualifying session, at the end of a qualifying session as well, and having quite a big impact on it. Alpaca is gotten her first go at this ruined, and I'd be surprised if there wasn't frustrations within that Hask garage. It's a bit clumsy there from ABT. Going on to the mediums at this stage. Hybrid is on an outlap, so is iWatts, just sitting outside that top 10 by a couple of tenths of a second. Just sitting inside it is Hybrid by about 2 tenths of a second. Jamar's having an alright go at it at the moment, currently sitting in P7, Samu in P6, Noah in P5, and these three have been battling it out throughout the season, along with iWatts for, I think it's P6 through 10 in the championship. Oh, sorry, 7 through 10 it would be. As here we go, Van iWatts for what is likely to be his last attempt of this session. Through the first couple of corners then, reminiscent of Bahrain, but a lot more sweeping, a lot quicker and a lot nicer. The first couple of corners around Bahrain are a real pain, and that's coming from someone who enjoys Bahrain more than most people, I think. But those first corners on this game are absolutely dreadful. Here we go, Van iWatts past the Sector 1 split, is not improving his previous best, needs to have a good Sector 2. But it looks a bit clunky, this from iWatts. I don't quite know. And he's already backed off. iWatts not happy with his first sector. He's going to give this one more go, I reckon. As Hybrid's just now started his second, or his last flying lap, sorry. So it's Jamar, and people are coming out of pit lane. I imagine they're going to let Jamar go into the first corner. They do. With 1:42 go, and this qualifying session's really flown by, let me tell you that. Where's Alpaca on her outlap? She's going to be able to get a timing, but she's got to get a move on this lap. Maybe even past that Aston Martin with the blinking light. Well, we were on board with iWatts just a brief moment ago. We were also on board with someone else. I believe that might have been Hybrid. Very sorry about that. Just skipping off. Wiggins going through Sector 1 now as well. Needs to find quite a bit of time. A beat is retired from this session. I believe that's in the pit lane. He'll be starting in last as long as everyone else sets a time. So that's a disappointing qualifying session for a beat to that. So then Hybrid's about to come across the line. What is he going to be able to do? Invalidated lap, and that is the end of qualifying for Hybrid P9 at best. And McLaren coming up to the start-finish line. It's Jamar, who's not improving. End of qualifying for Jamar, P7 at best. There's a Haas coming across the line. That's all. Oh, sorry, that was Kit to start a flying lap. Then have Mr. Wilco to start a flying lap. Alpaca to start a flying lap. Then we have an Alpine. Would that be Djokovic perhaps? And I believe Wiggins coming up quite quickly behind him. Matty coming up to start a lap as well. So is Tess, and both of them are just going to be able to get in there before the end of the session. Wigan moves up one place into P8, and now what is Matty going to be able to do on this run? What is Undercheck able to do? He's coming out of Sector 1, and he might be the main threat for pole position now, but needs to improve by 4/10 of a second. Kit is currently sitting in 14th. Is he going to be able to improve Recon up 10th past his teammate, and he's likely to stay inside that top 10. What is Alpaca going to be able to do on her one and only lap? And Undercheck, I didn't see a sector time, but it should be an improvement, shouldn't it? Djokovic is coming up to the sector 2 split. What is he going to be able to do? One chance pole position now, and he's not improving as Djokovic. Likely not to improve on this lap. Then Undercheck not improving a massive amount by the look of things through the second sector. Neither is Matty, neither is Tess, and the track is not getting better through this last sector, or through this last stage of qualifying. That's Alpaca doing P12 for the other Haas. It's a very, very decent, respectable effort indeed. Matty's going to be first across the line. Can he challenge with a brilliant last sector? I don't think so. No, he cannot. P2 for Matty, P1 for Tess, P3 for Undercheck, and P4 for Djokovic. Wigan finishes the session in P8, and there is your starting grid. We have a top 5 of Tess, Matty, Undercheck, Djokovic, and Samo Bamo squeezes in at the end with Noah in P6, Jamar in 7th, Wigan in 8th, Wilco in 9th, and Recon just managing a top 10 finish ahead of his teammate and ahead of Alpaca. Darren in 13th, followed by Iwat in 14th. Not a good qualifying session for the other Red Bull, with Kid in 15th and ABT with a horrid session. 26 flat, 5 seconds slower than Tess on pole position in last. Matty, happy with his qualifying pace, has had an upswing in that department over the last couple of weeks. We'll see now if he can convert this into a good race result for that top 3 battle in the Drivers' Championship. There we can see it's a 3/10 margin from Tess down to Matty and Undercheck. Djokovic 4/10 behind pole position. Is relatively close between Matty, Undercheck and Djokovic, but Tess with a significant advantage heading into the Grand Prix here, but that can change up everything. A lot of track limit invalidations, you would imagine. Actually would have expected more than that over the course of this session, but we will get this race underway in a couple of minutes time, so everyone just stay tuned for the start of the Qatar Grand Prix. Don't go anywhere, nobody ready up on the grid, because NEF1 is coming right back in a couple of minutes time for full coverage of the Qatar Grand Prix round 16, where the championship can be decided. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Here we go then, everyone. We are back for full race coverage of the Qatar Grand Prix. It's gonna get going in a little bit of time, but not quite yet. We got a few moments to go before we give everyone the green light to get this race underway. The Qatar Grand Prix then, quite a fair few laps around here. A bit difficult on the setup as well. Need quite a stable car around here, but some straight line speed down that main straight to be able to overtake. 50-50 wings, not a bad strategy if you're leading. If you're not, then you're gonna have problems running that amount of downforce. But it's gonna be superior through especially that second and third sector, that high amount of downforce. This is usually a track that catches one or two people out every race as well on strategy, on management of everything as well. We'll see if anyone gets caught out tonight. We'll see. As Matt is saying there, you need to be leading and out of DRS to run 50-50 wings effectively. I have given the ready up as well, so we should be going in not too long at all. But yeah, as Matt is saying, that's completely correct. If you're running outside the DRS, you can run those 50-50 wings. If you're within DRS, then you will most likely get eaten up on that straight, and the lead is gonna be short-lived, let's just say that. As here we go then. On the formation lap, Tess leads Matti, leads Ondrejek, leads Djokovic, leads Samo Bamo, who is turning in to just shy of one of the top drivers in NEF1. If he can keep up the same rate of improvement through next season as he is this, he'll be winning races next season. Obviously, it'll be a brand new game as well, so I'm not going to put any pressure on anyone. But Samo's really impressing me at this stage of the season. Having a look at strategies then. What is going on there? A lot of medium tires for everyone inside the top 6. Jamar opting to do something different on a set of hards here. Medium tires for Wigan, Wilco, and Recon. That was a lot of W's just there. Along with hybrid on the hards. Mediums for Alpaca and Darren. Hards for iWatts, and then 2 sets of mediums for Kit and a BT. So medium tires for the majority of the grid should say everything basically. Especially when everyone inside the top 5 are on the same compound tires, you know that's probably the strategy you want to be on. Chance of a safety car around here, relatively high, but there's a lot of runoff to go. Are we likely to have some sort of incident? I think so, but the question is, what kind of accident will it be? Most overtaking opportunities are going to happen into turn 1, unless you try to do a Thomas Ronhar, where you overtake, well, basically wherever you fancy by just dive bombing people. In case you'll be penalized to death. He was given a 1 second time penalty. He won't be given a 1 second time penalty in this league. He'll be given a actual time penalty that is going to hurt you. So I wouldn't be advising any moves like that. So then, Tess in the Red Bull is going to be lining it up on pole position. Matty weaving aggressively, trying to get temperature into his boots. He's going to be on that inside line, heading into turn 1. Beneficial place if you can get your car alongside. Matty v Tess in the run down to turn 1. Ondrejek, is he going to be able to have a mega start, or is Djokovic going to pull out the starts of old? Not really seen those this season, and pull off a magic one down into the fast corner. We shall wait and see. But the final cars are lining it up on the grid as we speak. Zabiti just doing the last burnout on the way to his grid slot, and we are all set. For the Qatar Grand Prix, we have 29 laps worth of racing action to go, and we have 5 red lights, and it is lights, and away we go. Wilco gets a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. That is going to compromise the starting field quite a little bit, but Matty gets away very, very well, and he's challenging Tess into the first corner. Squeeze him round the outside, but Tess just manages to hold on to that position. Matty has to budge in the end. It's a good start from, not a good start from Djokovic, who's falling down a little bit on Ondrejek there. Slight contact between the two. BT have 5 positions on the start. Very, very good indeed, and something. Where's Wilco disappeared off to? He's well down in last. Kit's retired from this race. What has gone on there? He has just retired on track for whatever reason. I don't know why. Mr. Wilco then now with the drive through penalty for jumping the start, as we have action coming up ahead of him. That is Hybrid, I think, have gotten a really bad exit now, being passed by iWatts. iWatts used to doing battling around these corners, and everyone starting on the hard tyres had a bit of a difficult go at this. Wins had a decent start up past Jamar. Darren's actually had a really good start up 5 places as well. Recon holding station. BT up 5 places. Good start for the Saubers. Everyone inside the top 4 holding position for the time being. Matty holding with Tess on that first lap. And Tess trying to get rid of that Aston Martin behind him. Djokovic very, very close to the back of Ondrzejczyk. Might actually think about a move into turn 1, but not quite close enough. Sam Obama also very, very close to the back of Noah. Could start thinking about a move yet. Sam, I felt like he had a decent getaway. Just got taken somehow by Noah into turn 1, you would imagine. It's quite a chaotic, quite a wide turn 1, where a lot of stuff can happen. It goes by very, very quickly the first lap around here, so it's, I can imagine it's quite easily overwhelming. Alpaca, no positions gained, no positions lost on the opening. Laps just solid. Needs to start making up places to get into the point. Sorry. And Tess is just almost now shaking Matty out of DRS range. Should be bad this early on into the Grand Prix. Needs that DRS. Only one DRS on around here, mind you, on the start finish straight. Need that DRS in order to stay with here. If Tess can get rid of that, then it'll be almost going into cruising mode for a couple of laps. As here we go, with Sam Obama still on the back of Noah. He's going to be hunting him down. Djokovic now is going to have his first proper go with DRS on Ondrzejczyk, and I don't think there's too much that Williams is going to be able to do about that one. Nah, not even trying to fight it. Djokovic straight up in P3. Matty's getting actually quite close to Tess with the aid of that DRS. How hard is Tess pushing those tyres to get out of DRS range? Dad, what has just gone on there? Was that lag, or was that something going wrong for Tess, who is now in P2? How on earth did that happen? Mind you, this is not a race that Tess needs to win. He needs to finish in 6th, if I'm not mistaken, or higher to be champion. That gap needs to be 50 points by the end of the race, and they'll win it on count back, even if the two share points at the end of the season. Tess and Squidge. Oh, sorry, it needs that gap to be 52 points. It needs it to be 52 points, so it needs to outscore him by 10 points, so that's P5 or higher. That's me not doing the maths correctly. What has happened to Tess there? Is that just lag? That's dropped him back. What's been going on? Probably a screen freeze from Tess. Potentially, it felt like we saw something happen as well. Matty now in the lead of this Grand Prix. Tess in P2, Djokovic in 3rd with Ondrzejczyk in 4th. He's not going to be able to make a move quite yet. Actually, Noah's closer to making a move on Ondrzejczyk than Ondrzejczyk to Djokovic. An interesting situation. Jamar and Wigan, we've seen these battle throughout the seasons. Ever since Season 1 in NEF1, 5 years ago almost now, have these two been sharing a track together. Jamar getting past Wigan on that occasion up to P7, and Samo not having the best of race pace right now, stuck behind this little train, but it's a straight DRS train from 1st now down to Sam Obama in 6th. So it's close running here in the opening stint. Lap 4 out of 29. Recon in P9, having made up 1 place at the start. It's on the back of Wigan. And both the Kick Saubers behind him. Darren Stalin A, BT. BT still with a very good start. Darren's fallen back a little bit. Still a good start from both those Saubers. iWatts, wide way to go already now. Up to Alpaca in 12th. So iWatts is not having the best of race starts on those hard tyres, which feels like too hard a compound for this track. Tess now 8/10 of a second behind Matt, gaining with that DRS, which is powerful around here. You can see Tess just gaining and gaining and gaining. Djokovic looks interested towards the inside of Tess, who doesn't quite have the race pace at the moment, it feels like. But how much of that is Matty just holding back a little bit, happy in the current situation? Right now not being challenged, and that's a problem for Tess. Being overtaken now by Djokovic, and we're not seeing any of these overtakes. So what is going on for Tess here? What is going on for the championship leader? Ondercheck now next in line to have a go at him. Is Matty now going to try to push away a little bit to try to get rid of Djokovic, who's going to be less hesitant, mind you, than Tess to go for a move. So, neither Matty or Djokovic having won a race this season, both desperately trying to do so. I don't think Djokovic has ever finished an NEF1 season without a win this column that he's participated in. I know Matty has back in Season 3, which was slightly shortened, and his participation was only at about 50% that season as well, if I'm not mistaken. It was a bit of a weird season in NEF1 history. Season 3, we saw Djokovic claim his first NEF1 title, the first of many to come. But that win record is going to be incredibly important to both of them. No already then, 3-second time penalty, track limit warnings. And Ondercheck is now past Tess. That's ghosting quite a bit, so that's weird what's going on for Tess at the moment. It's now down P4. But 2.2 seconds ahead of Samo Bamo. As now we have two distinct trains formed in this Grand Prix. We have the train from 1st to 4th, and then we have the train lining it up behind Jamar. That's going all the way down to Alpaca in 11th. So Jamar needs to get a move on here, because Recon's not going to be wanting to wait around. Squidge is watching the race, saying it's definitely screen freezes that's somehow affecting Tess. Tess with a heap of issues last week out as well. Is that continuing on for this week then? Here we go then. Djokovic on Matty is gonna come down to the braking zone. Matty on the inside, Djokovic on the outside. Matty trying to close the door on him. Djokovic is just gonna have that on the entry to the corner. Not much Matty can do about it. DRS might just be a bit too powerful around here than what we'd like to see. A lot of it comes down to ERS deployment as well. Test now 0.7 seconds behind Ondercheck now. Still well clear of Samo Bamo, who only has no other company right now. So then I have a feeling this battle is going to go on for quite some time. Alpaca's just made a move past Darren Stylen into the points of this Grand Prix. Winston in P9, Jamar in P8, with Recon having taken that P7 away from Jamar on the previous lap then. As that McLaren's looking wiggly on the entry to the triple apex right-hander. Don't know quite why, if it's just a game illusion or if it's actually a bit unstable, that car. There we go, Matty past Djokovic into the lead of the Grand Prix once more. So here we go then, Jamar versus Recon. Red light flashing on a Mercedes, not going to be a problem for Jamar overtaking him. Question is Wigan going to be able to follow him? Not even close. And Ondercheck is now running very, very close to the back of Djokovic. Ondercheck, who's fighting for Williams, the Constructors' Championship this season. And that is a championship battle which is most likely going to be resolved next week out in Brazil. Yellow flags in Sector 1, that is hybrid, is had an issue off into the gravel traps after turn 7, I believe. Turn 6, that'd be. As stands the long train from first down to fourth, all weaving around like a snake on that front straight to try to get the slipstream off each other. Djokovic gets close to Matty Adam, goes down inside of the first corner once again. Matty might try to fight this, and he does around the outside, and he holds that position. The more he does this, the more Djokovic eats up those tyres, the more Matty eats up those tyres as well. Djokovic looking towards the inside of turn 4 is not really viable. And here we go then through turn 6. Hard on the exit, that left-hander, whenever your tyres start getting a bit worn down. And now, Tess is just sitting happy in 4th at the moment. Yellow flags in Sector 1 is another problem for hybrid. It is not having the best of goes at this. No, at the moment, not able to make any inroads on Samus. Just keeping that Ferrari clear for the time being. JMR 5.2 seconds behind, so that's a different battle in itself at this point. Not impossible to catch up. But certainly difficult. We'll see what goes on with these little battles. Here we go, and Djokovic passes Matty into turn 1 again. It's the most predictable, boring type of overtake that there is, and hopefully we get rid of these types of overtakes in a couple of weeks with the new game. Keep in mind as well, as here we go, Noah swoops around the outside of Sam Obama heading through turn 2. Keep in mind as well that sign-ups for Season 9 are open. If you're a driver currently driving or wanting to drive in NEF1, either sign up via DMs, as we have a virtual safety car now, which is going to neutralize everything. Either sign up via DMs to myself, or as Hybrid there is retired from this race. In the pit lane, mind you. So either sign up to me via DMs if you're a current driver, or get involved via the Join NEF1 link down below to get yourself involved in the action for Season 10, should be said. Sorry, not Season 9. Season 10 next year out in NEF1 on the new game as well, should be a good one. Green flag and DRS is back enabled. I think that was a freezing time penalty for Jamar for breach of track limits, and Djokovic made the most out of that restart, having shaken clear Matty now. Maybe just outside DRS, and if that's the case, Matty now has a problem. I just gets that rear wing open, but no slipstream whatsoever. Nonachek is right on the back of Matty now. To gain so much time on the rear of that back straight. 4/10 of a second eaten up in just a couple of 100 meters. As Jamar and Recon go side by side heading into the first sector, and Jamar I think is just going to come out ahead. Recon and Jamar, I don't know if they made contact there. Looks like Jamar quite aggressively shut the door on Recon. Spins around, does well to get back on track as quickly as he does. He's now sitting in P11. We might have a look at that after the race if Recon decides to submit an incident report. We'll wait and see. It was hard racing between the two, you can see that, but that's exactly what happened. I don't yet know. As Matty now having eaten up the advantage Djokovic tried to pull on him a lap ago. That's less than half a second now. You would imagine with that type of advantage, Matty would be able to get past on this start-finish rate if he wanted to. We're more than a third of the way through this Grand Prix now. I don't think we're a million miles away from the first, and you would imagine the only pit stop of this race. Matty pulls to the inside, takes the lead away. As there we go, then Wigan becomes the first driver to pit here in lap 12 out of 29. Relatively early for putting on a set of hards to go to the end. Especially seeing how the hard hasn't been a brilliant race tire so far. Wigan's going to be spending an awful lot of time on those. So long pit lane around here as well. He doesn't get on any clean air whatsoever as well. Mr. Wilco and Alpaca right ahead of him. So what do you do now if you're, for example, a Noah or a Samo running in, not no man's land, but not far off? Do you maybe go for a two-stopper with a medium soft to try to eke up that advantage, or do you perhaps get stuck in a train if you do? That is a good question. Djokovic elects to go into the pit lane relatively early. Has he gotten feedback from his teammate though, saying that the hards feel good? I reckon this might be a situation where you can get overcut quite heavily by going onto the hards. The question is, where does Djokovic come out as well? Needs to be clear of traffic, but it's... he's going to be clear of traffic, but he's going to have to do some overtaking the next couple of laps. Iwat's a couple of seconds up the road. It'd only take Djokovic about 2 laps to eat up that advantage. Fresh, hard tires. Okay, so 4 seconds behind now flat. See what that is at the end of a lap. As Noah and Samo keep going at it. Samo now forcing his way by the Ferrari. The Ferrari coming back around the outside. 2 side by side throughout that entire complex, locking wheels together and still holding on is Noah to the inside, eventually having to budge. And not sector times right now by Djokovic, that's setting the world alight. 3.8 seconds now behind. I'm quite surprised. Everyone inside the top 3 coming into pit on lap 30, what turns into lap 40. So then, where does Djokovic come out in comparison to these? Does he jump them? Does an undercut work? Potentially, it's gonna be close, but it just works. Past Ondercheck, who's gotten past Matty, maybe on the exit of the pit lane, or just in the pit lane. Potentially, with Tess in 6th now, 4th, when everyone's made their pit stop. Djokovic just made that undercut work, so my prediction of the overcut being the way to go, clearly false. Djokovic having a better idea of that than I do, as I would assume he does. He's quite a lot of more kilometers in this game than I have. But we are now halfway into this Grand Prix. As things stand right now, when Jamer and I have made their pit stops, we will crown ourselves a new era F1 Esports champion, and his name is Tess. But nothing is sealed yet. Recount, 3 second time penalty, multiple warnings. And everyone now apart from me, BT, is out on hard tyres. BT should be able to get to the end on those mediums if he takes care of them. See now what Matty's race pace on the hard tyres is going to be. He was exceptional on the mediums. Doesn't feel like he made the most out of that stint. So close every now and again to breaking that 1 second gap and maybe trying to build something. Didn't quite happen. And Tess seems very, very happy just sitting behind these lads for the time being. Maybe just waiting for the final lap onslaught. We'll wait and see. Tess usually starts making moves towards the back end of a race. He doesn't mind sitting behind for quite a number of laps, to be honest. Like Undercheck in that situation, he used to be very, very happy sitting behind people, wearing them down. And when they basically deplete their entire battery, that's when he started deploying and pulled away. That obviously doesn't work quite as efficiently on the new game anymore, with the change to battery harvesting and deploying. But Undercheck used to be relentless in his way to combat rivals. Undercheck now following past Matty Adam, and Iwatts just letting Tess go there as well. I thought Undercheck might actually have a little go at Djokovic for the provisional lead of this race, but didn't quite happen. Jamar now in first place, 7.1 seconds ahead of the leading on 15 lap all hard tyres. As here we go, Alpaca now past Amobamu. Made a little bit of an error. Getting a tank slapper on by the look of things. A beating out a car behind on the medium. Seems to be moving along quite well. Alpaca's having a good race now up to P8. Is she going to make the end of the race on those tyres? The question. 20 laps on a set of hards. Doable but tricky. Isn't this the track as well where the first ever mandatory two-stopper in F1 history happened? I seem to recall, well, not a mandatory two-stopper, they couldn't do more than a certain set of laps on any given tyre, could they? Oh, that's bold from Matty, who makes contact, I believe, with Djokovic, trying around the outside, doing around the outside of the reigning champion, but didn't quite get it done on Undercheck. But that's a bold move from Matty if I've ever seen one. So Jamar now sitting in 10th with a new set of medium tyres. So he's going to be able to make a couple of inroads on the car side. BT, Wigan, maybe even Samo and Noah when those tyres come into play. And then Alpaca in P5. This could work out quite well for Jamar. Just needs to get by these cars that he's got right ahead of him quite quickly. BT and Wigan. So Jamar right on the back now of his former teammate and countryman as well, ABT. Fellow British-Canadian drivers. He used to race together in Alpine a couple of seasons back. That was a, let's just call it a slightly controversial season for the pair of them. Came together a couple of times. As here goes, as there goes Matty past Undercheck for the lead of the Grand Prix. Djokovic goes past Undercheck for P2 in this Grand Prix. Undercheck trying to fight that one. He's going to try to fight it down inside for as long as he can through turn 2 and round the outside turn 3. And this is music in Matty's ears, I'm sure. Undercheck would just battle away a little bit more with Djokovic, who now 3-second time penalty, multiple track limit warnings, and that is going to be lovely music in Matty's ear. Let me tell you that with 11 laps to go, Djokovic now may be out of contention for this win unless he can deploy crazy levels of pace. BT 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. What on earth is that all about? That's a penalty that, if need be, can be removed after the race should he not pit again. And serve that time penalty in the pit lane, in which case we can do nothing about it. Unfortunately, it's a fault of the game. You can't sleep on Tess just hanging back there though, with 12 laps to go now, turns into 11 laps to go here. He's just scarily calm in P4 right now, is Tess. And now, there comes the move on Undercheck, down the inside of turn 1. Gonna squeeze that Williams wide, turns to the outside of turn 2. The Williams shows him the door, doesn't want any part of that little battle, and promptly shoves Tess a bit wide, saying, nah, this is my corner, do it somewhere else. And Tess just falls back a little bit as a result. If he wants to get by, he's gonna have to be a bit more aggressive. Samo's not having a brilliant second stint. Down P7 now. Unpenalized though, which means he'll be finishing in P5 if things stay the way they are. A very, very good result. It's another 10 points home to RB, and for Sam Obama's personal little tally there. As Darren battling away with Recon for the last points, paying position 4 attempts behind the Mercedes man, as Djokovic claims to lead the Grand Prix versus Matty on track, that is. Matty would love to have that lead instead. Djokovic realistically not going to be able to do too much with 10 laps to go. But of course, gotta be in the lead of the Grand Prix at this stage if you're Djokovic to try to build a gap. Matty just has to sit down or sit back, manage this. And really, P2 right now might be the advantageous place for Matty to be. Just sitting behind Djokovic, but getting that DRS to defend from Ondrejek. So is Matty just gonna sit quite happily right now in second place? Knowing that if things stay the way they are, he'll be taking the win on penalties. Shouldn't be downplayed as well. Running over track limits here, incredibly easy. If you don't do it, that is massively going to increase your chances of winning this race or getting a good result. That is. Again, reports that Pete is quite pissed off with that 10-second time penalty as well. Here goes Ondrejek on Matty, sniffing the same opportunity that Matty is with that time penalty ahead. And they're going to go free wide into turn 1. Ondrejek, Matty and Djokovic. Who's going to come out ahead? Djokovic just on the outside. Matty and Ondrejek going to battle this out through turn 1. But Ondrejek is just going to come out ahead with Matty in second. Djokovic down to third. That was a quick battle through turn 1. Free wide heading into that corner. And clean and nice racing prevailed. That was actually beautiful from Ondrejek, Matty and Djokovic. Type of racing we want to see. Tough, hard racing, but very fair. And obviously it makes it easier around this track as well. We can go side by side due to the wide flowing nature of it. As now the Red Bull of Tess has awoken and is past Djokovic as well for P3. And now he's going to be going for the win here in his final race of his championship campaign, mind you. A couple of more races to go this season, but this should be the one where the championship battle is decided. As here we go, Ondrzej moves to the inside, Matti to the outside, takes away the lead of the Grand Prix, and here comes Tess, maybe down the inside of Matti in turn 1. Has to look at it, but doesn't quite make it work, sticks back. Ondrzej though now down into third. Tess is up in the second, and now has started making those moves that we talked about earlier. Tess is happy to just sit back for quite a couple of laps, but now has gone all the way back down into 4th, and this is going to be a problem for Tess if this keeps happening for him. Wilco, 3-second time penalty, multiple track limit warnings. So on lap 23 out of 29, Matti versus Ondrzej versus Djokovic and Tess now. Oh, and that's contact between Matti and Ondrzej, who are now getting to get ever much closer together. Djokovic ahead of Tess with that time penalty could play quite a big part of this one. As that is very, very close running between Alpaca and Samo Bamo. Noah as well. Noah in the lead of that little battle with time penalties, mind you. So I don't think we're going to have any more pit stops. Apart from BT, who's now unfortunately had to serve that massive 10-second time penalty. That's a lot of time penalties to be added on at the end of this one. Wigan sitting in good position right now if he can keep it clean potentially. Actually needs to hurry it up a little bit to score those bigger points. One of the last races in the NEF1 with fastest lap point will be on offer as well, mind you. That is going for next season along with the real life regulations. Obviously we have a little twist in our league which allows anyone to grab the fastest lap point, not just the runners inside the top 10. So we'll see if anyone outside just has a go for it. You would imagine Recon and BT usually do. Oh, so should Darren and Mr. Wilco. So now Alpaca has done a massive climb up the order, up into 6th place. Samovo sitting clear in 5th place, but 18 seconds behind the leader. So losing a lot of time this race. But the best of this midfield pack, and now I believe that's Recon who's had an issue going through turn 1. So then 2 seconds separate the top 2 with Tess just alongside as well. He is showing himself down the inside of Matti now. He's not going to go for it into turn 1. Matti takes the lead away from Ondrzej, who falls back into P3. Tess follows Matti through. And now it's a straight battle for the top 3 between Matti, Tess and Ondrzej. Tess has had those issues throughout this race. Are those going to come back to plague him? Ondrzej gets a massive run on Tess actually heading into turn 4. Doesn't do anything with it. So he beat it out as fast lap at a Grand Prix. 1:23.722. It's gonna be relatively hard to beat. Nowhere near the pole position time, obviously. There's quite a lot of fuel still remaining in these cars. Matti, Tess, Ondrzejczyk is the order. Now, is Tess going to have a go at Matti? Yes, he is, and Tess back into the lead of this Grand Prix for the first time since the start. Matti tries to hold it around the outside, turns it to the inside for turn 2. He still has that line there, can shove Tess a bit wide on the exit, and he does. Matti holding on nicely to that position, lap 26 out of 29. And this is going to go down once again to that final lap. Like a lot of things have this season in NEF1, it's not over until that checkered flag. As Samo no Alpaca continues that little race-long battle here. Yellow flags in sector 2. Is that the back of... that's Recon being lapped by the front runners. Wilco with another 3-second time penalty. A lot of those being handed out right now. 9 seconds to Alpaca, 6 to Noah, 6 to Jamar. Wigan just needs to get within a couple of seconds ahead, and he could genuinely climb up to P6 here. But it's just shy of that. As here we go once again, entering lap 27. We're going to be doing this 2 more times now. Here comes Tess, round the outside of Matti. Nothing. Batti Aston Martin is going to be able to do it this time around. Matti has to cede P1. Is Tess now gonna try to run away with the lead of this Grand Prix here? Matti's got to follow him through to have an attack at the last possible moment, you would imagine. But gotta remain within DRS distance. And a realistic overtake distance as well. And Tess is looking rapid right now. Looking at a 5/10 gap. So then, coming up on 2 laps to go then. Tess, 6 seconds, oh sorry, not 6 seconds, 6/10 worth an advantage on Matti, who's yet to win a race this season, versus Ondrzejczyk. Tess is about to enter the last 2 races that would see him the, if I'm not mistaken, 7th NEF1 champion. Could be 6th, I'm sorry, I don't have the number quite in my head right now. If anyone want to fact check me, then please do. Here we go, Matti v Tess. Is it going to happen on lap 28 out of 29? No, Matti doesn't quite fancy it as of yet. Question is now, can Tess pull away enough to make sure he can defend on that final lap? You'll know that that's what Matti's going for. Ondrzejczyk is going to be going for the same as well. Djokovic, I think, will be content just hanging back. Grabbing a P4 is nothing more he's going to be able to do this race. The Samo doesn't really have to be fighting this battle too hard. He'll claim those positions anyways. Wigan just not quite having the pace. Keeping a penalty free, but is that costing him the pace to actually run with the guys out front? Because he doesn't have the pace even with their added penalties to take any positions away from them. Alright then. This is going to be it. The last run heading down into turn 1 is coming up quite soon. It won't matter in the end because this Red Bull is about to be crowned NEF1 champion. We're a lap away from having the championship decided here. But deciding the winner of the Qatar Grand Prix is first on the docket. Tess from Matti, from Ondrzejczyk. Matti has to get a monumental run down these last couple of 100 meters. He is closing, round the outside. He takes the lead of the race. Tess tries to defend the inside, turns into the outside for turn 2, and he's just going to have that. Matti down the inside, makes a lunge for it, slight contact. Matti takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Tess in P2. Ondrzejczyk not with enough battery and not with the momentum to make a run for it. Tess now, is he going to be able to find a way past on this final lap? It's tricky to overtake anywhere around here other than that start-finish straight. And is Matty finally going to get that win that he's been itching for this entire season? Tess has done everything right this season in terms of racing. He's had very, very few incidents. The first big one was last week out with his championship rival in Singapore, and that has brought him all the way here. Just being outplayed by Matty potentially here for the Qatar Grand Prix tonight. He's going to have one more go at this test. He is so close to the back of Matty, but it's not quite going to be enough tonight. Getting taken potentially by Ondrzejczyk as well. Test 3-second time penalty is not going to win this race. It is going to be Matty Adam 16 who wins the Qatar Grand Prix and extends the streak of winning a race every season. But this man is now an NEF1 champion. It is official. Tess takes P3, gets the points. He is your champion of Season 9. And what a way to do it. Not the win that he would have wanted, but what a season from Tess. It's been controlled. Squidge gained on him throughout this second half of the season, but it's not been enough. Tess has been relentless throughout and is a very, very deserving NEF1 champion indeed. We say congratulations to Matty for the race win, but mainly tonight the focus and the congratulations goes out for Tess for being the Season 9 champion of NEF1. What a finish to that race. What a final lap. It went down to the final few corners. Matty just holding on in the end. Tess, in true champions fashion, gave it absolutely everything. Maybe a bit too much, costing him that P2 in the end as well. But it was bound to go down to the final lap, and it always does in any F1. It goes down to the final lap to decide the winner of the Grand Prix. But what a race from Tess. 7 race wins this season, if I'm not mistaken, so far. A lot of race wins last season out as well. And he was shouted as the favourite heading into the season for the championship as well, wasn't he, Tess? In that Red Bull, previously in the Alpine, and he was so good. He was relentless and he was quick. And now he's brought home his first championship in New Era. Brought the championship back to Red Bull for the first time in quite a while. We say once again congratulations to Tess. Matty takes his first win of the season then from Ondrzejczyk, Tess, Djokovic and Samo finishes a brilliant 5th. But then that is going to be it for this edition of the Qatar Grand Prix in NEF1. Round 16 we have, even though the Drivers' Championship is now settled with Tess as your champion, we have 2 rounds to go to decide the Constructors' Champion in Brazil and Bahrain to close out the season, and our venture on F1 24 before we transition over to F1 25. Thank you so much for watching this race tonight. Once again, congratulations to Tess on his championship. We will see you in 1 week's time when NEF1 returns. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 7 days' time for the Brazil Grand Prix.